Ready, hunt!
Thank you, Michael. Welcome, everyone. No game, obviously, to cover last week. I would say, though, that we took advantage of the off week and got a lot of extra work on Florida State. I feel that'll be very helpful coming into this week, and then the players got a little bit of a chance over the weekend to rest their legs, and we're excited to be back yesterday for Monday's practice, and so we're excited and looking forward to the challenge of this week playing down at Florida State. Team ranked in the top 5 or 6, whatever it is, that's playing very well here early in the season. Obviously, their quarterback E.J. Manuel has really been playing great. Defensively, they've looked really strong, and obviously it goes all the way back to last year in that through the second half of the season, you could tell how much more familiar they were with their schemes, what the coaches wanted them to do. Therefore, you see a lot more aggressive and confident and stronger play, which allowed them to finish a year ago in a really great way when you look at them beating Florida really handily at the end of the year. They lose in the championship game, but then go on and beat another SEC team in South Carolina in the bowl game that they really finished the season in a strong and good way. And it's carried over to this year. I guess a little hard to judge in that, the opponents, the couple that they've started with, maybe, aren't quite what they're going to see the rest of the year, but they're still playing well. And so we're looking forward to it in that it'll be a great and exciting challenge, and hopefully I feel strongly that we'll invest in the week and go down there ready to play a great game.
How's that talent now compared to when you played and when you were in Florida?
That's kind of hard to – it looks similar to me. I see a lot of fast guys, and I see a lot of big guys in their front, and especially on defense. Their front four is, always has looked really good. So it's kind of hard to that's a long time ago now. But, but I think they've always, had excellent athletes and good players.
Does Manuel's talent change anything offensively from what Ponder did when he was the quarterback?
Well, you see a lot of the same good, strong pocket passing that you saw with Ponder as well. What you see is the added dimension in a bigger guy that can run, can pull the ball down, make something happen, and the added dimension with quarterback run game, that they had a year ago with him when he came in, and was also something that, anymore is fairly common with people that we see. So that's the other added dimension with them.
Bob, probably be a pretty big circus atmosphere. Talk to the guys about anything different than other big games?
That's the thing, honestly. Let's think about it. I mean, and I say this, in a humble way, when we show up, it's usually that way. When wherever we go, we don't usually walk in and it's all subdued and nobody's excited to see us. So, it'll be, I'm sure exciting and wild, but we've seen that, and hopefully we'll respond to it the right way and handle it and perform well.
How difficult is it for an opponent to try to game plan to take away a slot receiver like Ryan Sproles?
Well, it depends. You can try and do certain things to double cover them, but I feel confident this year more so than a year ago for sure that we have other players now that are experienced and capable of making big plays, and so if that's ever the case, I'd like to think we could take advantage of some of the other guys that I feel, for instance, Kenny Stills and Trey Franks aren't freshmen anymore. DeJuan Miller's had a great camp coming up to this year, and I'm excited to see him do more this year, and James Hanna as a tight end. So I think it'll be harder this year than it would have been a year ago to double him and to find ways to try and take him away.
And is he about as good as getting separation as anybody you've ever coached?
Absolutely. Just of creating separation, footwork, route running. He just has a great knack for finding space and creating space.
Is Mark doing anything different scheme-wise from what they did a year ago, or is it more just familiarity that's helped them improve?
I think it's more familiarity. There's some added, there's some added schemes you could see as the year went on, that are, that are quite natural to add as you move through the season. But I think as much as anything, just more familiarity, with what, he was wanting them to do.
Did he talk to you after the game last year?
Well, of course.
Preceding weeks about his defense?
Well, of course, to some
Did you
degree.
try to help him?
Well, that's not fair to say, whether I helped them, but I mean, we talked about some things and, just that might pertain to other teams.
Well, it seemed like last year they gave you a lot of cushion, gave your receivers a lot of cushion. Is that just the way he was playing, or is that what he had to do, or you expect the same thing to happen Saturday, or?
Well, I expect it to be mixed. At times, just like us, at times we're off, at times we're up crowding people, and so I expect it to be, mixed up and to be challenged in man at different times, and then to be, to mix in some zones. So I think they'll try and change it up on us.
Talk about their defensive line, supposedly one of the best in the country as far as getting pressure on quarterback.
Yeah, a year ago, they just mangled all kind of quarterbacks. So they did a great job of two things. I think getting pressure, quick pressure and getting to people, but they also did a nice job of making people squeeze the ball in coverage and then getting to, to the quarterback. So either way, they've done a great job getting pressure and sacks. So that'll be a big challenge for the defensive, or for our offensive line to hold their defensive line out.
Well, you talked about your emotions after that game last year, and you obviously wasn't something you were crazy about immediately after that game. Can you talk about the hours after that, after you got home? The next morning, did you feel the same, or did it?
Yeah,
did
it was.
some of
It
that
was.
go away?
I thought I said it really the best way I could after the game, that I felt the entire week that it would be a miserable experience, and then I said after the game I was sure of it. Now that I've done it, and I've never been so conflicted and miserable about winning a game. So it's just not what you want to do. And I mean that in that if you're playing your brother for a championship, that's okay. One of you is going to win a championship. The other played for one. You did well. If it isn't that case, then you spend your life fighting for your brother. You go play another neighborhood and whatever, or go. You bring your brothers with you. They're always on your team. You're sticking up for them. You're always helping each other out, and then all of a sudden you got to beat each other. It's not what you want. It's not natural.
Did you watch the Ryan brothers go head-to-head the other night?
Yeah, and that's really fun to watch. In that they're twins. I think they're great. I've enjoyed watching them both, and and in pro ball, maybe I'm sure it's difficult too. But at the end of the day, too, one game doesn't derail their season by any means. In the NFL, so maybe it's a little bit easier to handle that way. And when you're charged to do it, you do it. I'm just saying, it's not something you really enjoy.
You said it was fun to watch. Can you see how us and everybody else thinks it's fun to watch you go against your brother?
Yeah, I could see why people get enamored with it, but it's have at it. It's just what you do. It's that really makes you excited. Go ahead.
Were you guys not that competitive against each other? Some brothers spend their lives fighting each other as well as fighting on each other's behalf.
I got twins who fight each other constantly every day, but if you tried to fight them, you're going to get both of them. So that, that's a different deal. If we go at it, but someone else tries to go at it with them, you're going to get the other one on top of you. So
a move to the Pac-12 that would be difficult for you every year.
Well, I don't think that's part of the discussion. So.
What was your reaction when they started calling you Big Game Bob a few years ago? All those big wins you had. What was your reaction?
I didn't have one.
You didn't have one?
That's my name. You ever hear me call myself that? So you guys make up all kind of things. So
The running game, Bob, is it?
I find it funny though that some big games are big games, and then after the fact they're not big games. We play Missouri for the Big 12 championship when they're number one in the country, and we win 61-21, but that wasn't a big game all of a sudden, right? And then you know, and then you lose a game, and that was a big one. Now you don't win one. So it's funny how it changes from time to time, or it's pretty good when you, after 7 or 8 Big 12 championship games, Big 12 championship game, they became not very big, you know, when you win 7 of them. So it just kind of, you know, it kind of fits the picture sometimes, and then it doesn't, depending on how you want to write your story.
Their run game, is it a power run game, or is it gonna, did they ever get under center or anything like that?
Yeah, they get under center a lot. So they'll get in your traditional strong sets, eye sets, and get that back, you know, 8 yards behind the quarterback, and
So they play-
absolutely. So they'll run the football and get in a lot of those, you know, strong running sets, you know, and then they'll run and play action. And
When guys like Jeremy Calhoun or Jonathan Miller come and say they want to transfer, what do you say to them?
well, I just hope, you know, I want to, you know, I understand it sometimes. I guess I'm sometimes wonder the timing of it, in that, you know, there's a long season here. You know, your opportunities may come more, you know, sooner than you think. But if you're not willing to stick it out and wait for those opportunities, it's unfortunate. Just because if you're not going to play somewhere right now, you might as well, you know, wait to the end of the year. But sometimes they want to, sometimes they don't. But I understand at a certain point, you know, if some younger guys are playing in front of you, that you want your opportunities. You want, or at least, hey, I've got one more year to do it. I want to play, regardless of where it is. So, you know, I just, you know, you feel bad, but you can understand it to some degree. And again, I just always hope the timing's right, you know, for them to advantage them.
Does that impact whether Brandon Williams plays or not, with those 2 guys leaving? Is he still-
Well, we are giving Brandon opportunities in practice, preparing him to play. So we're preparing him to play, and always have been.
Talk about Greg Reed. This is your first chance against a big-time return guy. Damaris Johnson didn't play last against Tulsa the other week, but Greg Reed is return ability.
Yeah, he's fabulous. You know, a guy with great speed and ability to make people miss him. And you know, and a year ago, I thought we did a good job, and our guys were really keyed in to be down. And, you know, we want to hang the ball and hopefully, you know, give our coverage time. So all of that has to all work together. But it's a big challenge. He's a great return man.
Do you feel you know how your coverage units are? I mean, compared to last year, because you've had some problems.
No, well, I mean, one game it was great, but I can't give you more than that. You know, you know that we've only had one game, so it was really good against Tulsa, but got to be this week.
Do you give scholarships during the season like a Dominic Weather, or is that something that only happens after the season?
After.
After only?
Mm-hmm.
Bob, you had 6 tailbacks 2 weeks ago. Now you're down to 4. Is depth starting to be a concern there, or are you okay at 4?
Well, we have 4 plus Trey Millard. You know, he's as good. You know, he's good running it too. So 5's probably, you know, what most people have, 5 or 6. So we'll manage it.